This Steve Jones Show podcast is now loading. The Steve Jones Show podcast is presented by Sunbury Motor Company, Purdy Insurance, and Brewers Outlet.
Purpose-built for pickleball.
Bringing you an in-depth look at Penn State sports and more. This is the Steve Jones Show on News Radio 1070 WKOK. The Steve Jones Show is presented by Brewers Outlet, Sunbury Motor Company, and Purdy Insurance. Now from the Sunbury Motor Studio, here's Steve Jones.
Brought to you by Purdy Insurance, Market Street in Sunbury. Go to purdyinsurance.com. Auto, home, life, business, boat, motorcycle, RV, yes, even Medicare. They handle it all. They make sure you're fully insured. They give you the best options because they're the pros. And they do everything they can to save you money. All at Purdy Insurance, Market Street in Sunbury. Go to purdyinsurance.com. We've already had one major disappointment today, and that is, for whatever reason, Matt claims he can't be on today. He'll be on tomorrow. We don't know what the reasons are. I mentioned that maybe he has a meeting, and Todd said, who would he meet with? And why would he be running it? I thought that was a good point.
You don't have the delay on.
Oh. And once again, the suit has the delay on, which means
that was me.
Again, every time he's near something, just near it, it's a disaster.
Well, can't blame it on him. Somebody ran in here at 108.01.
I've been sitting here for a while.
I was going to say, it probably wasn't you.
And I heard a lot of nothing until about 108.30. Oh, goodness gracious.
Yeah, the horn was off long enough that he had to walk down from the other end of the building, so.
Oh, well, that gives him 20 steps today.
Yeah, well. With a couple extra calories smacking me in the back of the head.
No, that's true. That is actually calorie release. The SEC has been putting out its schedule, and I want to get to that in a few minutes. Because, again, why can't the Big Ten do this? I don't understand. And last night's, for those of you who may not realize, there actually was a playoff game last night. And the Oklahoma City Thunder won. And it played out almost exactly as the way Todd and I said it would yesterday. We said Oklahoma City would build a lead. Indiana would come back early in the fourth. And then Oklahoma City would close it out and win. They built a 17-point lead. Indiana got back within two early in the fourth. Oklahoma City closed them out. Now, Tyrese Halliburton being hurt is under the category of that doesn't help. You could just see movement, and I know some people are like, I don't understand. why. T.J. McConnell didn't play more. McConnell played 22 minutes. He had 18 points. So it's not as if he didn't play. I mean, he played. He's played almost half the game. But there's no doubt Halliburton being hurt them. Now, so why keep him out there? Okay. Well, for one thing, they thought he could help. Number two, he is a distributor. Number three, Oklahoma City doesn't really know he's hurt. You could tell he wasn't moving quite the same. But that's how it played out. Williams had a great game last night. He's been the Jaylen Brown of this series. And he's been a tough matchup for Indiana to handle. But the bottom line is, people aren't watching this. And the reason is they don't know who the people are. They know it's the NBA Finals. They just don't know much about these teams. And we've talked about Holmgren's a tough matchup. I think Siakam's done okay when he's been in there against him. Turner's been okay when he's been there against him, too. But Nembhard, I think, has played as well defensively against Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as anybody could ask. It's just SGA is just that good. And that just shows you how great this guy is. Williams, to be honest with you, Indiana doesn't really have a matchup for him. And the bench part's been critical. But if Halliburton is not 100%, it really does put Indiana behind the 8 ball at this point. Because they have to be completely healthy to have a shot in this series. If he's down and out, or he's playing at 70 or 75%, Indiana's got trouble.
I think they said he's most definitely going to play tomorrow.
Oh,
I don't
right.
think he's. I don't know how close to 100% he's going to be. Obviously,
he wasn't moving all that well last night, and I mean, if he's 70%, that's a problem.
Again, I guess the only thing I was surprised about was that they didn't go back to McConnell a little later in the fourth quarter after he was so instrumental in bringing them back. And you could tell you could tell Halliburton wasn't 100%. Was, I know you want him out there, but he just was having trouble staying in front of people with that leg.
Yeah. Yeah. So if that's the case, McConnell will have to play more. And the Thunder are in a great spot. I also thought they handled postgame really well last night. They were very matter-of-fact about the whole thing. There wasn't a giddiness of it or anything like that. They were just matter-of-fact. They know they have more work to do. And that's where that series is. As for the viewership in the series, excuse me. Look, this is what I've talked about for years. This is the big test for the NBA. Is it really let me put it this way. The NBA caught a big break in the fact that when they were negotiating the TV deals, they had the right matchups. If they were negotiating the TV deal after this matchup, okay, would they get as much? Because, I mean, let's start with this. The NBA, and I pointed this out last week, but I'm going to make the point again today. They're part of the problem. The incredible lack of confidence that they have in their own product, okay, is obvious. It's obvious. Because their marquee day to really kick off their season, even though it's, almost 2 months into the season, is Christmas Day. Did Indiana, Cleveland, or Oklahoma City play on Christmas Day this year? Nope, nope, and nope. And guess what? Oklahoma City and Indiana are in the final. The two best records in the NBA belong to Oklahoma City and Cleveland, and not one of the three was on Christmas Day. They had to show, and I'm sorry, they had to show the Philadelphia 76ers? Really? The Sixers were on and not Oklahoma City? What, are you kidding me? Okay, you've already had a declaration made by the Sixers and by Joel Embiid that he's not playing consecutive games. So, this is where you are with them. And they're the ones that made that decision.
I do wonder if we do get him this Christmas Day, but at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, probably.
Yeah, but but this is okay. Let's go back on this though. All right, Oklahoma City, yes, got knocked out in the second round of the playoffs last year, but they had one of the better records in the NBA and a young nucleus: Williams, Holmgren, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, all coming back a year older. Indiana was in the Eastern Conference Final last year before they were beaten by the Celtics. The Cavaliers were really good last year, too. Got knocked out by the Celtics. Now, the Celtics are just that good a year ago. They were easily the best team in the NBA last year. But you already had signs from 3 young teams that they were really good. And yet we got the Philadelphia 76ers that are not that popular to begin with on TV. And they're not that popular on TV to begin with. But we had to see Joel Embiid do what? I mean, this is a league decision. I mean, they're the ones that chose not to showcase those 3 teams. And it's going to get worse for the upcoming year. You want to know why? Because the NFL is going from 2 to 3 Christmas Day games this year. Because Christmas falls on a Thursday, and Amazon Prime has its usual Thursday night game. They're lucky they got their money now. But they're partially to blame for what's happening with this series.
I wonder how Amazon plays the NFL game and if they get a Christmas NBA game.
They won't get a Christmas NBA game.
There's a lot of time before that night game.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they could, but they'd be opposite Netflix.
Well, that's true.
I mean, the problem is The problem is not that Amazon's doing a Thursday night game. That's not the problem. The problem is it's the third game of the day. And that means instead of having two and then having that opening in the evening, which the NBA had last year, there's no opening in the evening this time. That's my point about that. But they're partially to blame for this. They took three teams that going into the season you thought were going to be pretty good. Definitely two of them, Cleveland and Oklahoma City. You knew they were going to be pretty good. Indiana, we can debate about, even though they made the Eastern Conference final last year. You can have a little debate about it. That's fine. That's fair. But they elected not to show these teams. They elected to show the Phoenix Suns because they have Kevin Durant? What? The Sixers because they have Joel Embiid? Neither one of those teams ain't good. I mean, this is partially their fault. I mean, it's because nobody knows who these people are. I mean, you could promote that SGA is the MVP over and over and over again, and it doesn't resonate with fans. They don't know who he is.
There's probably a better chance they recognize him from that god-awful commercial.
Where they're all wearing the same outfits?
Oh, no, actually, I was talking about last year's commercial in the NCAA tournament.
Which one was that one?
When they were singing?
Oh, yeah. That was... Yeah, that was awful.
Yeah, this one's actually bad. This one's bad, but it looks like The Godfather compared to that one.
I forgot about that commercial last year. You know. Oh man, I always love the headlines. Ignore NBA Finals TV ratings. Appreciate Pacers Thunder for what it is. It's a USA Today article. That's a nice try, Jeff. Nice try. Look, it's a big story. Okay? And the reason it's a big story is the league keeps telling everybody we're the number 2 sport behind the NFL. Well, man, you're getting buried. You can't force anyone to watch. Maybe it's a great finals. Maybe it's not. But dismissing the series before it begins means missing out on watching teams who envisioned how to win in today's NBA and made it happen. Okay. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate that. Okay.
Did you see this morning that for the first time streaming, there was more people streaming than there was in cable and broadcast?
Yeah, I did see that. Nielsen put that out.
Yeah, that's... Yeah. Maybe we're finally getting across the Rubicon.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, but see, I'm not... I do... I'll watch Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime. By the way, the ratings for the NBA Finals are down 24%. The Thunder Pacers, they're down 24% for the Celtics. And again, the Celtics are one of those, brands that will draw people, but they're down 24%. So I'll stream Thursday Night Football. But you know what I don't like about streaming? So I'm watching a Thursday night game. So I'm watching whatever the game is. Just let's say it's the Bills and the Chiefs on Thursday Night Football. They hit halftime. Well, I want to switch over and maybe check in, since it's early in the season, a pivotal baseball game that's being played just to see what the score is. Well, I got to get out of the stream. Got to do. I got to hit like the button like 8-9 times before I get to where I need to go. I'm like, oh, then I want to go back to watch the football game. I got to hit the button. It's like, all right. It's Thursday night. I've already done the talk show with James, right, and the other coach. I've done the pregame show with James. I've fed the pregame show to the network. The whole thing. I'm tired. I don't want to be fiddling around. It's going to be an easier way to do this.
It's funny because my smart TV, I can do that. I couldn't do that before, but I got a new TV a couple years ago, and I can actually go back and forth between and not lose anything between streaming and TV. So that's a plus.
Well, I have a smart TV. It's way smarter than me. I have to hit a bunch of buttons to do it. I have a smart TV.
I'll be honest, I'm the only one in my house that watches TV.
Yeah, me too.
If my wife is cooking or something, she usually streams something on her phone and watches it out in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And if my daughter is watching TV, she's watching Disney Plus on her tablet.
Okay.
Which is good for me. That means I can watch all the sports I want.
Oh boy. There you go.
I don't have to fight and watch cartoons for a while or anything.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. I'd like to see what it's like for people my daughter's age and maybe even a little older when we get 10, 15 years, because a lot of that group watches stuff on their tablet and on their phone and doesn't really watch TV at all.
Right. So here's the NBA PR. Game 3 peaked at 11.54 million viewers at 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. The first 3 games of the NBA Finals have been the most watched programs on TV since the first week of May. Okay.
Cool.
Party time, game time, or just fun time. Doesn't matter what time it is because it's Brewers Outlet time. The Beverage Supermarket has the area's largest beer selection. Imports, microbrews, ciders, and domestics. Pick from over 100 ice-cold 12-packs and dozens of 24-ounce singles. Soda, snacks, hot sauces, fresh roasted peanuts. Make it one-stop party shopping, and don't forget the pickle bar. So whatever you're celebrating or just doing it up, Brewers Outlet, Reagan Street, Sunbury wants to see you. And thank you for your years of patronage.
Bringing you an in-depth look at Penn State sports and more. This is the Steve Jones Show on News Radio 1070 WKOK. The Steve Jones Show is presented by Purdy Insurance, Brewers Outlet, and Sunbury Motor Company. Now from the Sunbury Motor Studio, here's Steve Jones.
All right. Great to have you with us. Brought to you by Sunbury Motors, 4th Street in Sunbury. Sunbury Motors Kia. It's 11 and 15 in Hummels Wharf and online at sunburymotors.com. Ford, Kia, Hyundai, the best in new inventory with great warranties, great safety features. Pre-owned inventory. Well, they've got plenty of that. And not only that, they also have each one they go over with a fine-tooth comb. So it eases the buying experience for you. Terrific service department, quick lane, inspections, routine, difficult. All at Sunbury Motors, 4th Street in Sunbury. Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 to 15. Hummels Wharf and online at sunburymotors.com. All right. So, we're talking about the ratings. By the way, there was supposed to be some sort of race between Noah Lyles, the Olympic champion, and Tyreek Hill, and it's been canceled because of personal reasons. Okay. There you go.
I wonder if those personal reasons is somebody realized they were going to lose that race.
Well, one of the two of them thought that, that's for sure. Yeah. So then somebody came up to me today and says to me, "Did you hear the news? Joey Chestnut is going to participate in the Nathan's hot dog eating contest." I'm like, what in the heck? Okay. You have to be kidding me. Really?
I mean, he is the Michael Jordan of competitive eating.
Oh, God. Have you ever watched that?
Like, I've seen parts of it. I don't go out of my way to watch it now.
I don't think I've ever watched it. So I remember one time, I'm not going to say who the guest is. Okay, the guest was. But we had a guest on who announces in his career auto racing. And so when he was on the show, I'm asking about the races and the drivers and things like that. But he also would announce the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. Now, the premise of the question, and you know, everybody knows I get my questions, I get to the point as quickly as possible. I said, you announced the Nathan's hot dog eating contest the last couple of years. And he went, oh, geez, that thing. I said, no. I said, the question's about you worked with Melanie Collins. And the reason I asked is because Mel grew up here in State College. And she worked with me over at Channel 3. So I just wanted to get his impression of her as a professional, her work, and so forth. He goes, oh. He says, of course. No, he says, sorry about that. I should have let you finish. But his reaction was, oh, that thing.
I do feel like that was probably 10 or 12 years ago, because I feel like it's I don't want to say popular, but it's a little more kitschy now than it was then.
Okay, I don't quite know what that means.
I just mean it just feels like they've made it into something that people pay attention to, and maybe they weren't quite paying attention to it quite like that last year. Because, I mean, I think most people know Joey Chestnut couldn't participate last year.
I don't know. I didn't know that.
Oh, well,
Look, you know what I'm going to do with the 4th of July this year? I'm going to get up, have a nice breakfast, get in the car, I'm going to drive to Williamsport. I'm going to do a Spikes Cutters game at 1 o'clock, drive back, get back by 5, have a little barbecue, whatever, and watch the fireworks, and that's it. There'll be no hot dog eating contest in my... I mean, how many... Okay, this is a personal question now. What's the most hot dogs you've ever had in a sitting?
Oh, probably 3 or 4.
Right. I think the most I've ever had in my life was 3 in a sitting. Ever. Most. I'm usually somebody, I don't know if you're like this or not, but if I'm grilling, I get a burger and a dog. 1-1. Okay? Right. If there's no burger, maybe I'll have 2 hot dogs. But I can't eat more than 2 hot dogs now. But like maybe 20 years ago, I had 3. This guy's shoving 75 into his mouth, and what's the period of time? What the heck? That's entertaining?
I always find it hard to believe that he's so tiny. And there was that Japanese woman that used to be so good at it, too, and she couldn't have weighed more than 110 pounds.
I just don't. It's not sports.
No.
It's gluttony.
I honestly always think of the pie eating contest and Stand By Me every time I see it.
Oh, yeah, right. Now, there may be people out there that watch this. In fact, I think, doesn't the suit watch it?
I don't know, but I mean, somebody must watch it. They show it every year on ESPN.
Well, obviously there's some level of popularity to it. But under the category of to each his own. I mean, so it's just not me.
As somebody that's had Comcast and Prism forever, it's still better than the Wing Bowl. It's still less gross than the Wing Bowl.
I never saw the Wing Bowl either.
Oh, good heavens. Count your blessings.
Yeah, I guess so. Holy mackerel.
Hey, closer to Philly, you might have had to participate in a Wing Bowl or two.
Okay, no.
Yeah, I don't think they give Merrill out for that stuff.
I was just about to say, do you think Merrill would ever? No.
No, you are. That is the truest thing that might have ever been said on this show.
Merrill would like you to participate in the Wing Bowl. I don't think so. Send Mike quick. Oh. Well, yeah. So those are the stories of the day. Oilers, Panthers tonight. By the way, Stuart Skinner will be back in goal tonight for the Edmonton Oilers, which is what I thought they would do. I mean, you can get away with it for a game. If Edmonton had won Game 5, Pickard would have been the goalie tonight. But when they lost and he was okay, I will say this. Florida just at both ends of the ice played a superior game. But Skinner gets the call tonight. And that's the right call. That's the right move.
I would suggest not letting them score multiple goals in the first period if I were Mr. Skinner. Might be easier said than done, but
that's the whole thing about this series. Yeah. All 5 games to this point, the total number of goals was 7 or better. I mean, people have been scoring in this series. But I will say this, the first goal, which is always critical anyway, right? The first goal, which is always critical anyway, becomes even more so tonight because if it's Florida that scores first, you don't think that Edmonton bench isn't going to tighten up a little bit, knowing that they absolutely have to be the next team to score? Conversely, if Edmonton can score first, it's going to be like, all right, now we're going to play with the lead. Because playing with the lead, to me, is so important. I mean, you've heard, Jack and I, Dick and I have talked repeatedly over the years on the broadcast about the ability to play with the lead. There's a psychology to it that is so important. When you're playing uphill, okay? When you're playing uphill, it is so hard psychologically. You're playing from behind. And I think tonight with Edmonton because Florida just played a superior game the other night. I mean, a superior game. I mean, credit where credit's due. Both ends of the ice, they weren't just good. I thought they were great.
I was impressed that they were kind of able to bounce back with how the previous game went, blowing that big lead and then losing in overtime.
Yeah, that's right. But it's amazing what the people will say. Well, how come home ice and home court and so forth? I mean, how come it's not? as big a factor as we think. And there's a reason for that, and it's very simple, because there's so much about sports that is simple. Hey, if I have the better players, normally I'm going to win. Simple. That's one thing about football that's crazy. Football, because there's only one game a week, we spend all this time breaking down the game. And a lot of it comes down to like who has the better players and where are the better matchups. It doesn't take long to do that. Okay? But when you look at, why isn't home ice as much of or home court, why isn't as much of a factor? Because right now you've got good on good. Okay? You're not facing the Memphis Grizzlies. You're not facing, the team with the first overall pick in the NHL entry draft. Okay? You're not facing the Chicago Blackhawks. Okay? And because you're not facing the Chicago Blackhawks, who are not even though Bedard's a heck of a player, overall they're not a good team, well, home ice is going to make a big deal to a young team like that. Not these two teams. These are two been-there-done-that teams. What does home ice mean? It means they have to travel. Okay. After that, you play.
Just going to say it means a really long flight.
Right. But somebody said, well, they gave them a couple extra days between. No, well, look, if the Blackhawks were playing Detroit, it would be the same amount of days off as what TV wants, which now gets me to the TV point I wanted to make earlier about the Big Ten. And I made this point last month when we all know that the first 3 kickoffs of the season, we know the first 4 kickoffs of the season for Penn State. And there is then the 5th one is either noon, 3:30, or 4. Really? What network? Really? Nobody knows. It's right. I don't understand why the Big Ten doesn't do what the NFL does. And they do they put it on BTN or even put it on Fox Sports 1, whatever. And do the entire schedule release with networks, times. Some of it will be Friday nights, so dates. And leave it open for November where you're allowed to flex 2 games. I don't understand that. I don't get this. Right? If you learned any lesson from the pandemic, TV should have learned the lesson, above all, that that having people in the stands makes a difference in watching the game on TV. The ratings went down 7% when they were a captive audience because the games were all flat. It got to the point where they're piping in noise, artificial noise. Well, TV does on the college side. They do everything they can to drive people away. I mean, you don't want to tell them when the kickoff is? And my favorite, as you know, what's my favorite? The 6 days out. If you can't pick out a kickoff time for a football game 12 days out as to what's a good matchup and what's not, you probably should not have a job. You don't know sports. I mean, you can set all this stuff up, have a big release, do it as a show. You get people to watch, and then everybody knows when the times are. It's what I've always respected about the Notre Dame TV deal with NBC. They have 7 home games this year, Todd. We now know the kickoffs of all 7 games. which is the way it should be. Meanwhile, Penn State will play at UCLA. I don't know. Penn State's got Northwestern at home. We have 3 options. Okay. I don't get it.
They're still waiting around. That means they have to wait around to schedule the homecoming festivities too, right? Isn't Northwestern homecoming?
Yes.
I mean, just a pain in the butt for everybody.
Well, look, yeah. But they gave you 3 good options: noon, 3:30, or 4.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? It just means it's not a night. Might as well just say it won't be a night game. Okay. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Now, basketball, okay, first of all, you're not talking about 32 teams like the NFL. You're talking 18. In basketball, to their credit, with the exception of 1 game, which has an either-or to it, which is at the end of the year, they give you dates, times, network. And it's usually done September 18, 19, right around there. Well, football can't do that? You can't do that? I mean, they're baffling. I mean, the people that go to the games are the gold. They want to go, be a part of it, be in the stands. They're loud. They're fun. They make a difference. They have to put in so much more effort than everybody else to be there, as opposed to you sitting there and watching the game on TV. So I don't get that. It's because the SEC put out a whole series of games. I mean, a whole series of games.
Did they have media availability with it?
With the
release?
SEC?
Yeah, just because the Vanderbilt QB said something dumb again today.
Okay, I didn't see what he had to say.
Oh, something along the lines of that he didn't take any calls from Big Ten teams because there's not real competition in the Big Ten. If you play in the ACC, you don't get to play Purdue and Nebraska.
Well, that's okay. If it makes him feel better, Penn State doesn't get to play Vanderbilt.
Yeah, this is true.
Yippee.
Somebody online said this might be the lowest moment in Nebraska football history.
Oh, jeez.
The Vanderbilt kid talking trash about him.
God. That's not good.
No. I do feel like the SEC decided to turn up the rhetoric the last couple weeks.
Oh, I think they need to win games.
Well, that too, but
I mean, that's what it comes down to.
One of the college football reporters went through the strength of schedule stuff.
Yeah.
And already said that the strength of schedule stuff is already skewed towards them without it being switched.
You're talking about the SEC?
Yeah. Well, it's skewed. For obvious reasons, it's skewed. It's already skewed towards the SEC and the Big Ten because that's where all the strength of schedules are.
Well, that's what I've talked about over the years with Penn State basketball. Just by showing up, Penn State played last year, I think, 16 quad one games. And if you're in the SEC, every game's a quad one game, except for 2. They had 14 teams make the NCAA tournament. 2 didn't. I mean, so you're playing nothing but quad one games, will give you more quad one opportunities. Then there's North Carolina, who had 12 quad one opportunities last year, won once. Penn State had more quad one wins last year than North Carolina.
Even at the end of that stretch where they struggled so badly, they never fell out of the top 60, did they, in the net?
No, they did not.
I was going to say, I didn't think so.
But Vanderbilt will play at Texas on noon. in Week 10.
I'm taking the Horns.
I feel good about Texas in that one. Neil Coulon next half hour. There's no need to balance off the insanity of Matt Catrillo today. Matt was a no-show.